I want to thank all three of you guys for making the time happen. Ross, it's good to be back with you, bro. It's been like
too long.
It's been too long. And just a couple quick announcements, and then we're going to get into it. First thing, speaktruthwithoutfear.com. Make sure you guys are, if you guys can put in your email, because they already hit my personal live. They're starting to take down a lot of our posts, which we're going to get into censorship later on today. Leilani has a story about that. You're not going to believe what post they deleted from her. It's unbelievable. But if you guys can put in your email, it's the one way that we can connect with you guys in case we do get deplatformed. Second thing, we have the podcast coming out tomorrow, and then we'll have another one coming out on Friday with me and Ross. Again, we also have a support page. We're self-funding this entire thing, the podcast, the lives, the show, everything. So if any support helps. Let's get into the news. So real quick, every single time to start, I like to talk about the current events. Yesterday was something big, and if you guys have been on here, I always talk about the election and where the hell COVID came from. It's like the two main things that we've been discussing constantly over the last couple weeks. Let's talk about Georgia real quick before we get into some of the other discussions. Georgia, yesterday, we had a report that came out for the first time that, and I know this is American news. I'm sorry, Leilani.
That's okay. I've been following it a bit.
You have? Okay. I would love to hear your feedback from the outside too, you know, not being in the States. I want to hear what, especially what the media is saying, because I'm watching Sky News and seeing some international media, and they're just like making fun of our media, and I would love to hear what your thoughts on that. But real quick, Georgia, for the first time, we have now a government election official in Fulton County that has admitted to the Georgia Star, a local newspaper, that 24% of all the ballots in Fulton County of absentee ballots have no chain of custody. I want you guys to think about that for what that is. They don't know where they came from. They just, 24% of the ballots in Fulton County, they don't know where they came from. The forms are gone. I actually, Brad Ratzenberger, the freaking Secretary of State, rhino piece of crap, comes out like, this is very concerning of what is happening in Fulton County.
That's what we've been saying. That's why we were at the Capitol, you nod.
Well, I'm sorry we don't have our tinfoil hats on like everybody's been saying we had for the past however many months.
Literally. It's so true that, he wants to come out.
Now?
Yeah, 100%. I actually posted this on my Instagram like right before this live, and I literally said, hold on, I gotta read this. I thought it was actually pretty funny. I said, my prediction is that Brad Ratzenberger, the Secretary of State, is going to claim that the chain of custody files were destroyed from the water pipe burst that happened from the shutdown. Like, that is the type. I love the tinfoil hat. Like, we have,
there it is.
dude, I'm sorry, but we can't care anymore when they label us conspiracy theorists, because the conspiracies are coming true
everywhere.
It's so crazy.
Everywhere.
This is like, I've been labeled it for like 15 months or, since January 2020, and everything's coming true. It's so crazy. And then I try and explain to my English friends what's going on in America with what happened with the elections, and they all think I'm crazy. And I'm like, oh my God. And there's so much to like try and fill people in on. It's like, oh, you know what? I can't even do this.
Yeah, no, it's intense.
Yeah, imagine you trying to talk about something that nobody cares about over there, like of interest level, and then imagine a bunch of people that actually think that Trump was a legitimate racist arguing with you about the fact that there may have been election fraud. They're already going, oh God, I hope you're wrong. And then they want to prove you're wrong because they think Trump is literally Hitler.
It's so nuts. It's so nuts. And then you try and explain how the media lies. But I think even in England now, people are waking up a little bit finally and seeing what's going on from the lies that we've been told over here.
Well, your guys' protests are the best. Like,
yeah, it's so funny. I went to one 2 months ago. It wasn't the last one. It was the one before. I went to one, and the BBC said there were like a few hundred people, and I'm telling you, there were hundreds of thousands of us. It's crazy, and they're trying to play it all down. And you know what the best thing is? Totally peaceful, like love and unity, and totally peaceful. And there was this like empty bus that they'd left in the middle of like this busy high street, Oxford Street. And I swear, everyone was like, why have they left this bus empty? And I think they wanted people to like destroy it or go crazy, but people were just putting all these like stickers on, like saying, we want freedom, and just walking on by. And
it was crazy.
So
they walked by and they actually pumped up the tire. They pumped it up and then they cleaned it a little bit and said, we just love capitalism.
They tried to January 6th you guys.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, they tried so hard, and then they wish it would turn violent, I swear, but it's so peaceful. And there's like hundreds of thousands of us just marching, like old, young, like all races, like people in wheelchairs, everything, just marching along, just all for the same cause. And it's amazing, just to, you know, to stop these stupid lockdowns we have here. It's insane.
I know. It's so crazy. I mean, we're seeing that here in California now with the passports. I mean, you know, did you? Okay, well, actually, we're gonna we'll talk about
so
that.
Much.
So I told him before we move on to COVID and censorship, let's talk real quick Arizona, because I mean I've gotten like literally 40 messages today, maybe even more, about like what's going on in Arizona. What's going on? This is what's going on in Arizona. OAN is reporting, and we don't know the full report yet, but OAN saying that they've heard from one of the auditors that 225,000 illegitimate ballots. 225,000 illegitimate ballots. That is what they're reporting. That report's going to come out in a couple weeks. I mean, what do you guys think?
In a couple weeks, man. That's the part that's so annoying. Everything's so far away. Golly, at first it was January 6th, something might happen. Then January 20th, something might happen. Then March 15th, something might happen. And the annoying part is the 2.5 years leading up to this stinking thing, we were saying the same thing about justice for all the people that are doing evil things now. We were like, They're corrupt. They're getting paid by China. If they get in, China's going to run everything, and we're going to go right to climate change, bending over and letting people turn us around. And I've been saying one day, and I'm wondering, like, at which point do we launch before the army behind us is dead? Because they've either been canceled, they've given over, they've got a vaccine that made them retarded. I'm not saying the vaccines do that. I'm just saying it may occur. All right. So anyway, you get what I'm saying. Go ahead, Anthony.
Here's the thing that people have to just be a little bit more patient. And the reason why I say this is I have heard, I'm starting to believe that the election can possibly be overturned. I wasn't a huge believer, but now I am.
Let's go.
And what people don't realize, it would be actually a Trump 2022, or we'd have to re-elect. We'd have to have another election, which would be the first time in history.
Can you break that down for me? Help me understand. Why are you hopeful? I'm sure everybody and me want to know this.
Why am I hopeful?
Yeah, you said you heard specifics about something. Tell me, because I want to feel the way you feel about this.
So you don't feel that way, is what you're saying?
I feel like I've had the bone so close to I can taste
it,
smell it, and then it gets yanked away.
I feel it. I feel you, dude, because I've been let down on every date that we've been told, just like you said. But I feel that it's too big to happen right this second. Like it's. I know I'm gonna say it's going to happen, but
I'm with you, bro. I'm with you.
Do you know what I'm saying, Jordan?
But my brain
feel that way.
Okay, my brain says I don't know how it does. My gut's like it's gonna happen. Why do I feel that way? One, it's so abnormal for the entire Trump team and Trump himself to be so optimistic. Two, I think this audit that's gonna happen in Arizona, the report that's gonna come out. I mean, the state senators right now are saying, if this report, if what we're hearing is going to come out, we are going to tell Governor Ducey to decertify the state of Arizona. If that happens,
does the governor have a daughter? Does the daughter have a boyfriend who can be killed by the Chinese again?
Well, then his ass will get recalled, and then the next one, like, we'll recall his ass. Like, sorry. So, but you also have now 13 states that have been to Arizona in the last 3 days or 4 days. Why? Because they are all taking notes of how to do this forensic audit. This isn't just going to happen in the 5 swing states. This is going to happen. I believe that when Arizona, because I do believe that Arizona is going to get decertified. I really believe that. I think it's going to happen. I think Ducey is going to be in a place because the House and Senate in Arizona. There are so many hardcore red patriots in that Congress for the state of Arizona that I actually think that there'll be too much pressure and there'll be too much fraud that the media is going to be. Trump said this. Trump said the media will be forced to cover it. Then what happens in June 28th? Trump's rallies start. And he starts hitting these states. He goes to Arizona. He goes to Ohio. He goes to Florida. And he starts forcing the media, because the media is going to cover everything he says. He is going to force the conversation. Hey, here's the report in Arizona. We got 220. I think that and I also think that the big juicy stuff hasn't even been released yet.
Yeah, so I agree with you guys so far that everything that you've said, I have believed that, and I've known the dominoes and everything, and every other state's probably going to start to do it. And we always have the backbone of the actual just people in the United States that are watching, that are going, I'm so sick of this. I'll say something if I see something like this happen again. We got hoodwinked once. We're not going to get hoodwinked again. But for everybody watching who might be on the left, we are not asking for them to find fake fraud and then put Trump back in. We want to know what actually happened in the election,
Yes.
and we think you should want to know that too. And if we're wrong, we'll happily take a seat, and then we'll go whip your ass in 2022 because it's going to be so easy. And then 2024. But until then, we're not just going to be like, okay, Trump's not actually the president, because we don't believe that. And it's turning out that we're pretty accurate about everything else.
Think about it. Why is the Biden administration, Justice Department, putting their thumb on the scale saying, hey, Arizona, do not finish this audit. Hey, Arizona, don't do the canvas. We will come and interfere. Why? Because they know the dang truth. Why did they send 100 lawyers to Arizona? Because they know the truth, because they do not want that treasure chest to be open, because when it's open, they're going to be fully exposed. Steve Bannon keeps saying, so he says these two things every time. We got to get to the bottom of the election, and we got to get to the bottom of where COVID came from, because if you get to the bottom of those two things, the entire global deep state system collapses in a moment. And that's where I'm so hyped right now about the election specifically, and COVID. I mean, Fauci's emails, and the media is just trying to shove that crap under the table, and it's huge. And
and this is where the corruption kind of lays, is because look at what's happening to all of your Democrat governors that are being exposed. Nobody's talking about that anymore. Look at this Fauci situation. I want something to happen, but it's just brushed under the rug. You have a current president's son that there's so much there that the media doesn't want to talk about. But I guarantee you, if that was Donald Jr., he would be burned at the stake. I mean, it would be like the Salem witch trials. I mean,
do you remember when the Hunter Biden leak came out and the New York Post posted it on Twitter, and they suspended a corporate media organization for posting the truth?
Yes.
It's so crazy. I mean, even with the new emails, with them using the N-word in all of them, it's barely being talked about. I just don't understand. How can it not be talked about? It doesn't even exist, and it's like you can only find it really if you're looking on social media or something.
People have been canceled for less. I mean, I hate to bring it up, but Roseanne Barr, is a great example. She made a joke. She's a comedian that ended up, her entire career is gone. Then you have somebody like Hunter Biden, or look at Kristen Teagle. What's her name?
Teigen, yeah.
I mean, she's literally had people almost kill themselves.
Yes.
And then gives you a back-ended apology today, and everyone's like, bravo,
Yeah.
she's amazing.
It's madness.
Well, I mean, you have, okay, so Leilani, you have a story because you recently posted, and this was like, oh my gosh, she asked to tell the story.
So I literally said, it was the craziest thing. I read an article saying that we should not use the word mother anymore. It's not PC. We should use birthing parent, right? And I put on a post and I said, the word is mother. It's not birthing parent, it's mother. I have a mother. My sister's a mother. I have friends who are mothers, and I have friends who have adopted children who are mothers to those children. They have adopted, they didn't birth them. Mm-hmm. And I guarantee you around the world, there are more women who have adopted children than there are people who have had a child and now decided they're a man and now decided that we should call it birthing parent to include them. And it's like, that was taken down for being hate speech. Hate speech.
Your post.
Hate speech.
Yes.
Oh, well, I made a video on the same thing, and it was hate speech as well.
It was hate speech, and I got to my car. I was like, "Are you fucking? Are you kidding me?"
Well, here's the thing. I am the child of a stepmother. My mother passed away a long time ago, so I have a stepmother. She didn't birth me, but she is my mother. She's a mother figure to me. So I made a video simply stating that it was hate speech.
Yeah, I mean, it's crazy. It got taken down, and my account was threatened, and it said you may be deleted for hate speech for taking down the post. So basically, because exactly like you, and it's nuts. And then another one, I was actually banned on Facebook for 30 days because I said, shoot up the politicians with the jab, with the vaccine, not with a gun, with the vaccine. And they said, you are inciting like violence.
Right.
I mean, it's insane. It's insane. It's so insane. It's just like the censorship.
But you can break open the window of a Foot Locker and you are a queen, girl. Steal all the gym shoes you want, honey. You're the queen.
It's just so mad.
But you're inciting violence because you don't want to take the vax.
Yeah.
Do people say it out loud? Ross.
I know, like
There's
it
no
just
way.
blows my
There's
mind.
no way
just,
these people
like,
have
I
had
can't.
these
I don't
thoughts.
even have any words for me. I'm like, this is just so crazy, and it blows my mind. And then you look at all the doctors and the science virologists, and if they're not following the narrative, they get taken off Twitter, and it's and all kinds of social media, and like Robert Kennedy, like that's it, wiped off Instagram. It's like he's a lawyer. What are you doing? Like this is what he does. He fights for these people, and you're completely taking him off all social media.
If you're ever wondering if this was actually for your safety or not, them banning people, because look, let's be honest, if there was people sacrificing kids on freaking Instagram lives, it would make sense that you would have a monitoring system to shut crazy ass things down. Right. And so at first thought process, look, censors are a great thing. They probably are necessary. But at the point when they said hydroxychloroquine was bad, banned it from being mentioned, banned the doctors who were mentioning it, and killed. Yeah. If 500,000 people died from COVID, like they want to say, that's fine. Then what percentage of them died because they weren't allowed to have hydroxychloroquine? You jerks.
Exactly.
Killed people. And so the litmus test is obviously not bodily harm because you caused a lot of it. Yeah. More than most people, you nut jobs. And I've also heard of crazy things on Instagram lives and Facebook lives that you guys don't seem to care about. But when somebody wants to say boys are boys and girls are girls, this seems to be a problem that comes up where all of a sudden you're inciting violence. You didn't incite violence. You were causing violence to people by letting them die from malnutrition when there's actual, like, from not giving them drugs that they could have had.
Right.
You're actually murderers.
Right. And here's another thing too. A video got taken down for me, and it's Pride Month. Okay, so we need a whole month. But after this month, you guys don't have to celebrate gay people anymore. Just want everybody to know that. Okay, they only get celebrated in June. That's it. So, and they're happy with that. They're very satisfied with that. The gays love it. So listen, I posted a video saying that I'm not part of a gay community. My community is the community in which I live in. The community that I contribute to, that I live in, watching your neighbor, your fellow neighbor, cleaning up after your community, doing things within your community, right? The LGBTQ plus is not a community, guys. It's an organization, because if a store can literally sell merchandise for 1 month out of the year and market you as the LGBTQ plus community, you are an organization. All I said was I support my United States of America as my community. Hate speech, you guys. Hate speech.
Are you serious?
It came down for
Crazy.
hate speech.
Wow.
It's so
Yeah,
crazy.
no.
You know what, you say that. I was looking and somebody showed me, I think it was a game, and if you bought the game, the black and white version of the game, it was like $4.99. But if you bought, I think it was like a card game, if you bought the pack of cards that had the rainbow flag in, it was like double the price. So all it is a marketing plan. And it's like when you see BMW in America and Europe changing their logos to like the rainbow flag, but they're not doing it in the Middle East where, you know.
Oh, and the gay people love them there. They love them. Queers for Palestine. Queers for Palestine.
I saw that. I mean, it's like chickens saying, hey, I'm all for KFC.
Such idiots. And you know what? Everybody says this, but I think we have to bring it up again. Actually, everybody doesn't say this, but everybody should say this. The only place that these individuals, these loud, physically weak, docile, rebellious, angry, annoying group of people can exist is in a place that has been made for them by strong men and women who came before them that allowed weakness to be able to thrive. We're so strong as a society that we have made a space for your undeveloped, antisocial, immature, wounded, stunted, fatherless generation to come up and exist for a period of time. Now, that does, and what's happened is that they've brainwashed everybody and gone, their opinion and their culture is equally as valuable as this one that you guys were before. And the answer to that is a big fat no, it is not. Because if you're any other country for the last 7,000 years of human history, if you exist as a people group and you are weak, you will die. And they will take your women and children and eat your freaking your sheep. So it's just only recently in the past like 500 years where weakness like this particular type has been allowed to thrive, and they've given them all of this false
well, they don't
strength.
have any problems, so they're creating ones of their own. And you know, I think I don't know, Ross, if you said this, the time, and we've been saying this a lot over the last couple of weeks, the time for debating or the time of being silent is done. There has to come to a point where when someone in your community or someone throws out, or even at work, someone throws a stupid lie out or some BS, the time is now where it's like, hey, no, I'm going to speak truth to that. You're wrong. Because it's the reason that we're at the place now where the narrative has become where it is today is because we've been too scared, or we've been too silent, or we've not been engaged, and we've been quiet, and we've let them, out of the fear of being canceled or out of the fear of, of offending someone. It's like, screw that. The truth is the truth, and we're going to shine light on that bogus, BS, racist, bigoted statement that you just said. I'm not the racist. I'm not the bigot. I'm not the homophobe. I know who I am, and I don't find my identity in my sexuality, or I don't find my identity in my race. I find my identity as a Christian, as a Christian, and two, as an American.
And you don't get to talk. You don't get to talk shit anymore. You're not allowed to just say that crap anymore.
No, you're good.
You don't get to just say you're a racist. You don't get to just say that you're like, you know how deep of an actually offensive thing that is? Like, I think that our response to that from now on, if somebody says you're racist for thinking out loud, really rational thoughts, our response back should be, you're a rapist. And just see what their response is, because it's like you're a rapist. Wow, you're a rapist. It's like that's what you just said to me. You don't know anything about me.
Hey, Adam.
Do you think that I internally actually devalue people based on their melanin and their skin? And what are you even saying? You know what I'm saying? So anyway, I just think that it's time we start putting babies where they belong, and that is in the we don't pay attention to stupid ideas category. I'm sorry, adults are talking, honey. right? Like, I love kids. I've got great kids, but I don't let them interrupt when me and mom are talking about taxes.
Right.
So true. It's so true. Hey, if you guys have questions, feel free to send them in, because tonight.
So I was amused a little bit. We don't usually touch on comments, but I've noticed that there's a few trolls in here, and it's actually hilarious because, you know, they come in with things like Biden's your president. We know it's unfortunate, but we know, like, cool. Like, have a great day. Hope. But he's been here the entire time, by the way. So maybe something will.
I mean, did we see Biden at the G7?
Guys.
Oh my gosh.
Guys,
how can you even be
I'm
proud
surprised
of this,
we haven't been bombed yet. I mean, did we see
Yeah.
the entire group? It
Oh
was
my God.
literally
If
every
I
rich
was-
white person in the entire world sucking each other's.
Dude, if I was any of the other people there, my wife could have called me and been like, honey, see if we can get 50 apple pies out of Biden. And I'd be like, I can do it. Hang on. I'd walk into the meeting and be like, something I'm really concerned about, and I feel like you're not interested in, it might be because you're racist, is actually helping and sending some of those Aunt Jemima pies that my family would actually like to see, that kind of racial reconciliation. And Joe Biden would go, okay, sure. Where do you want to put it? It's such a sad excuse for a president right now.
And look, he was asked questions about one of the most dangerous leaders. I don't know about dangerous leaders, but Russia is Vladimir Putin. You don't want to fuck with. You don't want to mess with.
You're good.
I know we got this little disclaimer before we started. We can't. So anyway, no, I'm just kidding with you, Jordan. So it's like this guy's called
You asshole.
Biden.
Here we are trying to make a kids show, and then you come on here and just.
Well, we saw what happened to Nickelodeon, so if drag queens are okay on Nickelodeon, guess what, Jordan? I'm dropping an F-bomb on your podcast.
Hey, that's so true. It's so true.
So, listen, this guy was asked if he still thinks Vladimir Putin's a killer, and I've done a couple of videos on the soundbite because I think it's scary and hilarious at the same time. He literally stops talking for about 6 seconds, which
Literally.
if anybody is in radio or or any public speaking, if you're silent for 3 seconds, that's a long time. And you're sitting there and you're like,
I know. I saw your video too.
oh my God! Where is he?
Even
Where
when he
did-
did speak.
Well, wait.
When he did
there
speak,
were a
nothing
couple-
came out. Like,
I
didn't make
know.
any sense.
Well, and a couple of liberals came into the comments, or I don't know if they're liberals, but they support Biden, so whatever that is. And they said, well, he had an earpiece. So, earpiece. And I was like, so somebody had to tell him the answer to the question that was his answer?
Literally.
He had an earpiece. He had to wait for them to tell him what to think and what to say about Putin. Dude, you can say whatever you want about Donald Trump, but you never had to guess what homeboy was thinking. Like it was boom, 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 right? And everybody acts like it was the most evil thing. Well, you know what it's not more evil than? Enforcing your children to become racist by training them on critical race theory. He might have had really bad tweets, but he actually believed that people should be valued based on the content of their character, not the color of their skin. And for everybody in the comments that's either getting paid to troll or simply hasn't looked at the information, come debate me, you will burn.
Well, I mean, it's so the whole thing is just completely embarrassing. You have the speech part, then you have when he's sitting at the table, and the prime minister of the UK, is it Boris, and he's talking, and then Biden's like, hey, don't forget the South Africans. I just mentioned him, and he's like, oh, and they're all laughing,
But they egg him. They laugh at him like he's a cute little puppy.
I know. It's so okay.
This is dangerous, you guys. It's dangerous.
Do you know what? But they're all such hypocrites at the G7 meeting, because I don't know if you know this, but England isn't fully open yet. I know in America it is. And they have promised us, they've moved the goalpost of when we're going to open every single time. And I've been saying this, they're not going to let us open June 21st. They're not. And then all of a sudden, there they are having a barbecue, in the photo opportunities. elbow bumping. But then once the main photographers are gone, they're all hugging. They're like 2 inches away from each other. They're in each other's faces. They're all looking up together. And it's just the most hypocritical thing that you've ever seen. So my sister's got her wedding on the 16th of July. And now no one's allowed to dance at her wedding. It's against the rules in the UK to have a table of more than 6 people.
Are you serious?
And, yeah. And these rules were meant to have been lifted. It's like the most insane thing. It is the most insane thing. And I don't think we're even allowed more than 6 people in our own homes at the moment.
Why?
I want you guys to think
Why?
Like,
Why?
Because of COVID, of course. Like,
I mean, Italy is doing the same thing. I have family in Italy. They're doing the same thing. I don't understand. They are scared.
You know what it is? It's like a substitute teacher came in to the classroom, and it was her first day in the classroom. And you, as the student, have been going to the school for a long time, and she thinks that the bathroom down the hallway only has 1 stall, but it's got 30. And so she's making you line up and go one at a time until the other one comes back. And you're just in class, and you're going, "Oh my God, you dipshit!
Yeah.
We can all go right now because we read the stinking articles front to back, and we know that the mask didn't ever work in the first place, and that the spread wasn't that big of a deal, and the survival rate is significantly higher than they thought it was, and everybody's already got it according to 19 stinking places. MIT and Stanford and all these freaking universities and virologists have come out and supported it. HCQ works, all this, and yet you have to go one by one.
Fauci said it in his email.
But who made this guy Jesus Christ?
Crazy.
Who made this guy Jesus Christ? Why are the liberals sucking his ass? Why?
His ass, what a picture.
It is laughable. It's laughable. So they're all doing
Right.
it. And then there's Boris does this thing where they're all standing up and they've got their masks on. And he's like, we can take our masks off when we sit down. And it's like, oh, yeah, if I stand up, there's a virus right there. Let me just make sure I'm just below the line of it, you know?
Ross, do people come up to you in public? And because I'm the worst in public, if somebody were to say that to me, I'd be like, "Are you okay? You good?"
Yeah, I've had it happen once or twice. Where
Do you make them feel dumb like I do?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. All right. So what's your guy? Let's hear. I want to hear all of your guys' response. Ross, what is normally your response to Leilani and then Anthony?
Well, the couple examples that I have is one person will come up to me and he was like, "You're supposed to be wearing a mask," and I go, "Thanks," and then he followed me further, and like to the next aisle, and he goes, "You're supposed to be wearing a mask," and I just got close to him and I go, "Thank you, no,"
Yeah.
and then I just walked, I just like walked away, but like I wasn't gonna have to, like, this kid was probably 17, and then if they ever actually ask me, like if it's a serious occasion, then I'm like, oh, because it actually doesn't help me any. In fact, how long have you been wearing your mask just now? Have you touched this one yet? More than 2 times? Oh God, you're actually worse than not wearing a mask at all right now. Can you please step further away?
Yeah.
Oh, you do that every day? Oh my God, so you're actually making this whole thing. You all are making this whole thing. I gotta go. And it's like, you're the problem, you dummies. So anyway, go ahead, Anthony.
I'm the worst. So I don't know if I exude like this "don't come up to me" thing. Like, I don't know if people are really like, "Fuck, I'm not gonna fuck with him." But I walk with extreme confidence when I'm walking through a store. So people are already like scared.
They don't want to talk to you.
No, but I'm extra. So I'm like, "Hey, hi!" So I'm like waiting at people to tell me. I'm like, "Oh, I love that. Let me taste some. You got more? Let me taste some." I like that. So this guy came up to me and he goes, he's like, "You don't have a mask on." Are you talking to me? And he's like, and he already was like, "Oh shit." And I'm like, "You're talking to me?" And he's like, "Yeah." I'm like, "Okay." I pushed my cart in front of him. I go, "You're going to pay for all my groceries today?" And he's like, "No." I said, "Go fuck yourself." And I kept walking. Sorry, excuse my language. And he was just like stunned. He was standing in the middle of the store. They never come up to me. I'm telling you. Well, we live in South Florida. I live in a very red part of the country.
We're good. We're lucky.
So nobody really does, but I've walked into places that say, "Wear your mask, save your life." Oh my God. And I walk in, I'm like, "Hi, hey, I'm here for a pickup." And no mask. And then everyone looks around and then they start taking their masks off because I came in and I'm like busted through the doors. So I think it's confidence.
Yeah, I think
So
extroverts are going to win this war back, Anthony. Me and you, dude. We got to go to all the grocery stores apparently on the East Coast. And
They
get
all
everybody
feel
quicker
dumb.
in 'em.
They're all standing in the middle, and they're like, after I
Yeah.
leave, it's like I turned it out.
that's so funny. Leilani, what is it like? So what is it like in the UK? Like, I mean, is everyone just going with the system? I mean,
No, it's actually really split. And the worst thing about it is when they take polls, they'll print a poll in the media, and it's taken from some app that's owned by like the vaccine minister or something, that's like literally people that stay at home with nothing to do, following all these rules, that are filling out all these polls, right? So they've got these ridiculous polls that you read about in the media. But when you actually go out there, like people, and every time they push the goalpost, more and more people wake up. So in England, you could actually say right from the beginning that you were exempt. We didn't have a mask mandate until November. And you could say, or it might have been a month before, you could say you're exempt. So you could be exempt because it causes you stress, or you could be exempt because it causes you anxiety, or because you have a physical disability. But
Which are all worse than COVID, by the way. Sorry, continue.
yeah, seriously.
Yeah. So you're not, they're not actually allowed to ask what your exemption is. So I've always just said I'm exempt. That's it. Like they can't ask anything more. So I've never worn one the whole time. I've just been like,
Really?
Yeah. So it's been, and the sad thing is anyone could say it, but people are just too afraid to do it. But suddenly, like more and more people are doing it now. They're realizing, and they're following other people that aren't. But the whole time, I'm just being like, I'm sorry.
There's just so many things about this entire thing that just like, if you don't see everything that's going on, like number one, you can't post anything that's anti-vax in a sense, or that causes supposedly vaccine hesitation, as what
Right.
Facebook says. Like, if I know 5 different people right now that have had really bad reactions to the jab. If I post that and tell their story, my Instagram account will be threatened of being banned and deleted. If you don't see the problem in that, and it's not just a little bit weird that you cannot tell the truth about somebody, and then if you don't feel it's weird that our governors in America are giving away marijuana and cheeseburgers and beer and donuts and vacations and lotto tickets to get you to pump your body with something that hasn't even been FDA approved, and then you see the emails from Fauci. If you don't think something is wrong or something is weird, I don't know. I don't know.
That's what I think. Like sometimes, how do you like? I just had to stop even trying to engage with these people. I'm like, you know what? I've just got to sit here and I've got to save and work for my freedom and all of the people that want freedom. And like, there's so many people like saying, why are the British government doing this? And it's like, you know what? Stop asking why are the British government doing this. Start asking yourself, like, why are you allowing them? Why are you allowing them to tell you that you can't have your own brother and sister or your niece or your mother or your father into your own home? Why are you allowing these people to take this? Like, the whole way through, they were like, no families can mix households for the last however many months. And I'm like, no, I will see my niece. When I want to see my niece, she will come into my house. And you know what? If I have to hide her in the attic, I hide her in the attic.
I mean,
But listen,
go ahead, Anthony.
If the government is literally bribing you to put a substance that you know nothing about into your body, they're bribing you with a world riddled by drugs and alcoholism, we're giving you free beer. People are overweight and diabetic, we're giving you donuts and food. And it goes on and on and on. People are gamblers. Oh my God. All the gamblers now are going to get, because there's tickets now if they're going to win millions. So everybody's going to get vaccinated because they're gamblers. If people do not realize that
they even gave away firearms. Remember? Guns.
Yes.
Did they?
People don't think that that's a problem in our society right now, guys.
Yeah.
They are more brainwashed. They're far gone, buddy.
Like, here's the deal.
And the
Here's
simple
the deal.
fact,
Yeah,
sorry, that airlines right now are reversing, some airlines have reversed their statement saying, we're unsure if we actually want vaccinated people to fly because people have been clotting in flight because they're vaccinated.
What?
They took the article down. I can't get it back.
See?
It was on Sky News Australia. I saw that.
There it is.
And so the way that in the UK, they're not giving anything away, but what they're saying is so it started by, once we have all the over 70s vaccinated, you can get your freedom back. Once we have all the over 60s back, you can get your freedom back. And, you know, if we have all the elderly and vulnerable vaccinated by Easter, you can have your freedom back. Then it was Easter. Actually, we need to vaccinate more people. And now it's like the reason, and this is the craziest thing about it, in the whole, on June the 13th, the day before he came and made his statement about keeping the lockdown, 3 people in the entire UK had died of COVID, in the entire UK. And maybe it was zero, it was in the zeros just before that. And they still said, we need to keep the UK under restrictions. We can't lift the restrictions until more people have been vaccinated. So now you're talking about 20 and 30-year-olds, right? So they're not bribing us, but what they're saying is unless you do it, you can't go away on vacation. You can't go away. You can't dance at tables. Nightclubs can't be open. Bars can't be open. You have to.
They told us. You guys remember this? It said we need 2 weeks to flatten the curve.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Had that.
Do you remember that they went
2
weeks to flatten the curve to then now we're at a place where even I mean obviously a year and a half now. And when we went to a place where I was in LA County, living in Los Angeles, and if I had more than 3 people at my house, the Newsom was telling every citizen in LA County that you tattletale on your neighbor and we will call the police, and if they do not comply, they will turn off your power.
I remember that.
I think we forget how many boundary lines that we would otherwise have drawn very quickly and immediately been like, who the hell do you think you are? And we've just watched them be overstepped so many times that people are used to it. But like on a really basic level, if you and somebody who has killed anybody ever in their history were standing isolated on an island and they had something in their hand and they just said, I just want you to eat this. And then you're like, oh, okay. Well, I don't know, man. No. I want you to eat it or I won't help you get off the island.
So you're like, screw it.
That's getting weird. And then they're like, no, I either eat it right now or I'm not going to help you do anything. Eat it right now, I'm going to hurt you. Eat it right now, I'm going to make it more annoying for you to be here. Eventually you start going, why the hell do you want me to eat this thing so bad? And you have a weird history of killing people. Anybody want to debate with me about that? Bring it. Once again, I'll smoke you. Governments are the second most lethal force in all of human history, only followed by sickness. That's it.
And who said
which they probably created too.
And which president said, when the government tells you that we got you? Well, I don't know what's the exact phrase.
Reagan.
I'm from the government and I'm here to help. The scariest word.
It's the scariest thing that you could ever say. And that is right now. That is what we're seeing. Not just, and this is not an American issue, guys. This is a global world, like New World Order, World Economic Forum. Read it, the Great Reset. It doesn't work unless there's a crisis. There's a crisis, and this has been the biggest power grab since 9/11.
And look at what do you think what do you think the G7 summit was? That was them trying to further their agenda for one organization, one world, one government. We weren't in on all those meetings. We have you really think they were talking about the turtles and straws? Do you think that's what Biden was bringing up at the summit? You think he was scared about the turtles and plastic straws like they are in California with their purple hair? No, that's not what they were talking about. I guarantee it.
Yeah, they were talking about
get more jabs in them and kill them.
Yeah.
How can we get a certain percentage of these people to stop costing us so much money in this particular facet? And how do we milk the other ones for more money in a way that subverts their choice, so that way they don't have a choice to be a customer, they have to be one? And which country do we owe kudos to? And how can we get that money to them from the U.S. tax dollar? Because it's one of the largest providers of all these crazy middlemen companies in the world, like our pharmaceutical companies. You know, the United States funds like 85 to 95% of all of the research for all of the pharmaceutical companies in the world, I believe is the stat that I heard. We fund with our money all of their research, and other countries pay the cheap price for everything. We pay stupid money for it. Well, do you think somebody sat down at some point and was like, let's lobby the guy to vote for this. Let's give him $42 million and all these crazy deals that are technically legal so we don't get in trouble. Are you so naive to think that people haven't done that? Like,
Yeah.
I would, if I was evil and I had billions of dollars, I would be like, let me buy a person to do shit that I want them to do. Why are we playing this game of hoping that they do the right stuff? Let's make them win.
And you know what they've successfully done, basically worldwide, is they've successfully split humanity directly in half.
Yep.
To the point that if somebody with an opposing view comes up to you, you almost borderline think that you would be okay if that person was gone. Like,
yeah,
it's seriously, it's going to take us all. Like, there's no coming back from it. Like, it's far gone at this point. I mean, there's so much anger on both sides. It's not even a Republican and a Democrat side at this point. It's like a split of humanity. You either are for government or you're not. And if you're not, you are ready to take down anybody who's trying to come for you. And this is worldwide. And I'm telling you,
state of what? Well, no, I'm sorry. I don't mean to.
No, I'm just telling you, it's going to be. I hate to say it, but it could get deadly at one point. Like, people are just done.
Yeah, no, I think it does get very interesting because people will reach a point, and we're seeing it. We're seeing the segregation already start, even in the states. State of Washington right now. If you want to go to a store, you only get a green bracelet unless you're vaccinated. I mean, like, when you go to certain baseball games, there's a vaccinated section and an unvaccinated section.
Amazon employees, they have a star if they're vaccinated. Hello, what does that sound like?
Germany.
So crazy.
It's completely wild. Well, anyway, so we went down that rabbit hole. So let's lighten things up in these last 10 minutes. Here's some good news. Trump announced today his first 2 rallies, which Anthony, you better be going, because July 3rd he is coming to Tampa and I will be there. So you better.
Do you have tickets or do we just show?
Oh, dude, Trump's rallies are always free. So Trump is starting his rallies, and then also he's going. The first one's actually going to be in Ohio on June 27th or June 28th, which I'm actually excited about. And then Trump announced today. This is so embarrassing for Biden and Kamala, especially Kamala. Biden announced today that he accepted the invitation from Governor Abbott from Texas that he is going to the border in next week. What's today's date? Yeah, next week, like June 22nd, June 23rd. He's going to the border. Trump is basically telling Biden and Kamala how to keep America first when they are literally doing everything the opposite. Like, I cannot wait to see the press when Trump is walking, looking at his wall, and then he's seeing the children, how the media is going to report this. Because the media, I mean, I will say, though, what do you guys think about the media starting to give Kamala some they're giving her some tough questions, and they don't want to lose
all credibility.
Yeah, but the way she answers them, like, I've not been to Europe. What's your point? What?
But she has. That's the other lie.
Oh, she can't go to the border, but she can go to the Pride Parade and be like, transgenders! Transgenders! We don't care!
Yo, you just watch how fast the facade that they put up before they got into office about, and freaking AOC being the loser that she is, crying at the nothing on the other edge of the fence and wailing and weeping and gnashing of teeth, and it's all just straight up fake. And then when there's actually a border crisis and somebody asks you for the umpteenth time because you still haven't changed, it's like your wife cheats on you every night, and like the 18th time you're like, hey, can you stop? And then the response is, wow, when I want to stop, I'll stop, you idiot. And it's just like, oh, so you act like you were mad about people who cheated before you got in, but you actually a bigger cheater than everybody. And now that we're calling you out on it, you're acting like it's immature of us to hold you to the same standard. Got it. Trash.
So true.
Facts.
It is so interesting. All right, well, we got 5 minutes left. I think we can end with you guys got any final thoughts? Oh, we do have some questions. We could end with a question. really quick. Let's see what this says. What do you see a realistic next steps to? What are the realistic next steps towards flipping seats in 2022? You guys got any thoughts on that? I would say one, the big thing is get involved with your local get involved as a local government official. Become a precinct committeeman. Start showing up to school board meetings. Let them hear your voice. Because until we start doing that and we don't start keeping our local government officials accountable, that is going to be a big issue. Number two, I really think, and you guys can chime in as well, is do not back anyone that is, that's not America first. I think that's the biggest thing. I rather, like, I'm not focusing on the left anymore. I don't give a crap about Democrat primaries. I care about getting these rhinos out of office and get people that are America first, specifically in our country. You guys have any thoughts on that?
You know what? I agree. I have to agree with. First of all, it starts on the ground. And your local government is super important. People forget about that all the time. How do you think a bartender ended up getting into a seat? So know who's in your districts and definitely join some type of public office if you can. Ask questions. They'll tell you exactly who's running what.
Yep. When is the Arizona audit going to be completed? It actually should be completed by next week, but we won't hear the report for 2 to 3 weeks, which is going to be amazing. Real quick, what do you guys think about Trump pushing the jab?
He never pushed it.
I don't like the fact that I feel like he encourages it. I think that it's the worst thing his presidency did was partnering with Big Pharma after taking them out at the knees with the pharmaceutical, cutting them out, and then basically redoubling down and reimbursing them and getting them paid stupid amounts of money for these vaccines, and kind of, especially even the fact that he knew Robert Kennedy and everything and still kind of went through with it. I don't know what he was up against internally, which would have made him potentially have endorsed it, but I know there are multiple mothers whose children and family has died from this. So it's at least worth mentioning that it wasn't all just good, and to act like it was all just good, I kind of feel like is not really fair and not a good thing.
I think it hurts his support. I do. Like I saw a poll the other day where back in January it was like Trump 80%, DeSantis 20%. Now it's like 60-40.
I have to disagree with you on something. I don't really feel like he was pushing it. I feel like he. I don't think he did say pushing it as much.
Get it to everybody, even recently.
Right, but he's not pushing it like a lot of Democrat governors are pushing it on their people. I mean,
agreed. He's not harping on it and saying everybody should. You're right. He's not doing that.
Not making they're not like. I don't think he would make people get it. And I want to note here, I'm not an anti-vaxxer. I think that if you feel that the vaccine is good for you in your life, that's fine. I just don't agree with taking away people's rights because of it.
Yes.
So let's clarify that.
And let's not forget, the first thing Trump pushed right away was hydroxy. Like right away. He was pushing it hard. But then, I will say that, one of Trump's issues is he let the swamp take over the entire COVID issue. Mm-hmm. Which is why, I just remembered this. Wasn't Mike Pence over the entire COVID initiative? That makes so much. I didn't even think about that. Pence was over COVID, which is what. Wow, that's crazy.
He had the COVID briefings every week, or was it days?
It was every day.
What's nuts is Trump, guys. If they're what's nuts is that the clear competency of Donald Trump when he came into office. He was coming out sometimes for 3.5 hours per day to talk to the American people. In fact, the COVID briefings were so interesting to the people that they had better ratings than Monday Night Football did.
Yeah.
Guys, real quick, somebody said they got the vaccine and it gave them a really painful 4-hour erection. It sounds funny, but it sounds funny, but this kind of goes back to my infertility in women that I had talked about, not on this podcast, and also men losing sperm count. So that's what I mean. There's a lot of things that we don't know about this, and I don't care if Trump is the one who pushed it along. I feel like if he didn't, he would have been a bad guy anyway. So,
right.
But yeah, it's concerning for me when I read stuff like that.
Well, I will say this, and we'll do one more question, then we'll end this. Someone very close to that man did tell me that he took hydroxy, which is the reason why he bounced back so fast. So it's like even the man himself, that is something that he took, which is why he was. I mean, he had COVID, and like 3 days later, he's.
I remember too when
he takes off the mask at the top of the White House. I was like, that was badass, dude.
And everybody's like, everybody was literally raging. He just didn't give a flying crap.
He
was
did
just
it.
like. Remember when he walked over to Lafayette Square, which we now know that he never gassed anybody to get over there, and he just walks over and just holds up the Bible. You know, it's just like, you know what? I like that, bro. Actually, daggone it, I'm one of the demographics that was like, yeah, it'd be cool if you actually did endorse some of those principles, Trump. That's cool.
Yeah.
Anthony, you want to read that? Can you see the next question?
Yeah, my auntie just recently got the jab here in Australia and passed out and had to get CPR. Thankfully, she's alive. And these are the stories that the media is not pushing out, guys, because they have a quota. They want, I think is it 80% of the country to be vaccinated? We're not quite there yet. Or is it 85%? This is going on everywhere, by the way. I have personal family members who have gotten extremely, extremely sick and hospitalized from the vaccine. I've tried to post videos. I've gotten silenced on it. I don't know why anybody would want me to be silenced on it. I would think that Americans themselves, Americans are reporting my video for me telling them the results on a vaccine.
Yeah.
Like, that's how clinicals happen, you idiots. Why wouldn't you want these results from other of your fellow humans getting it?
Yeah.
But you want to silence them because they didn't vote for who you wanted to vote for. Well, when that's your aunt and that's your grandmother that it happens to, then you're going to be like, oh, my God, I should have listened to that guy on TikTok.
And you know what? It's not even that you were saying the vax is bad. It's just that we're saying really soberly, hey, it may work some in this capacity, but this is occurring too, and you should have the freedom to choose what you want to do and not get peer pressured into doing things that permanently alter your body potentially. And if anybody wants to argue with me about that, there's no information on what it does to your body.
Yeah.
Well,
Even the people firsthand who were like speaking from their hospital beds after having it, like Britt Galvin, literally sitting there in hospital saying, this is what's happened to me. Like, I can't move or from my waist down, or things are sticking to me, or whatever it is. Even them firsthand talking about their own personal experience, even they're being shut down too. It's crazy.
Yep. It's so true. And we saw today, this will be the final note and then we'll wrap this up. But we saw today with Project Veritas, did you guys see the journalist that came out on live TV and was like, hey, Fox has been muzzling me.
Yes. What did she blow the whistle on? What was it?
She blew the whistle that she interviewed someone, a doctor that was treating, she was interviewing the doctor for COVID, and the doctor in the live interview basically said, we're actually using hydroxy. It's the best cure for COVID, and we've been using it on all of our patients. And she wanted to air it, and Fox would not let her air the interview. And the reason why is because the advertisers are Big Pharma, and Big Pharma has asked Fox, CNN, all these major corporations, hey, we're paying for all your advertisements. We're paying you guys. You do not let that word be pushed out in the airwaves. That is the reason why. This is not about your health. This is literally about money. And that's what that was about. If you guys haven't seen it, you guys.
I'm definitely going to watch that.
I saw it.
Yeah, you guys can do that. So real quick, guys, at the top, there's a little arrow. If you hit that little arrow, it'll be a drop down and give you quick access to follow all four of us. And then also my personal Instagram. The reason why I'm going live on Speak Truths right now is because I'm banned from going live because I criticized a CNN journalist for saying that the world needs another Hitler. And so that is the reason why I can't go live right now. So my Instagram is pinned in the comments, and then as well, if you want to follow Ross, Anthony, all of us, Leilani, Leilani, That's how you say it, correct?
No, you said it perfectly.
Okay,
you said
perfect.
it perfectly.
Okay.
English people cannot say it, by the way. English people can't say it. So I've been called everything my whole life.
I love it. So real quick, do you guys have any final thoughts before we end this? No. We'll end this here. Make sure, again, speaktruthwithoutfear.com. A podcast comes out tomorrow. It'll be on all the platforms. And then me and Ross have another podcast coming out on Friday. And then we'll be back tomorrow night with another Instagram Live at 9 p.m. Eastern. Guys, thank you again.